Derby County have a huge task on their hands as they head into an absolutely massive fixture against Leyton Orient at home at Pridpe Park Stadium. Paul Warne will be looking to return from 2 draws with 3 points. That would be 5 points from his last 3 games, but is he going to be able to do it? Who does he have available? Shall we take a look at the league table and then let's get into both sides and then let's take some team predictions. Derby County currently find themselves on 83 points after 43 games. Now, they are only 2 points ahead of Wycombe Wanderers, but they are 7 points behind Portsmouth. Highly unlikely that they're going to challenge or get anywhere near Portsmouth unless absolutely everything goes their way, but it's very, very unlikely. Wycombe Wanderers will be thinking that they can get well within those automatic promotion places with a win at Portsmouth, but is that going to be possible? I've got a League One preview video coming tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so that you know when that one drops, because this is going to be an absolutely massive weekend of League One action as Peterborough, Bolton, Derby and Portsmouth all battle for those automatic promotion places. Portsmouth for the title, Derby, Bolton and Peterborough for that second automatic promotion place. Derby County, though, they face 10th place Leyton Orient, who sit on 62 points after 43 games. Although not impossible, it is highly, highly unlikely that they're going to find themselves challenging for those playoff places. They'd need everybody else to drop points and they'd need to win all 3 games, which, although not impossible, is heavily unlikely. Shall we now take a look into the fixture as a whole, the recent form of both sides, and then each team. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below or in this top corner to stay tuned for all my latest EFL League One content and Formula One content. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to get promoted or who you think is going to get relegated. Let me know your thoughts down below. So here we have it then. Derby County face Leyton Orient at Pridpe Park Stadium. In the previous fixture, Derby County came off 3-0 winners back in December when they faced Leyton Orient. It was an absolutely massive game then, and it's an absolutely massive game now. Derby County find themselves in need of a result. Having not won in their past 2 games, they really need 3 points if they want to keep up their push for automatic promotion. Now, if we look at the recent form of both sides come in a similar vein. 2 wins, 2 draws and a loss for Derby, whereas it's 2 wins, 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw for Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient lost to Lincoln City and Peterborough, while Derby County lost to Northampton Town. A draw against Portsmouth was an incredible result for Derby at the time, but after a recent result at Wycombe Wanderers, they are not quite in the same boat as they were before. Derby County will be feeling the pressure from Bolton Wanderers below, but they will know that with the correct result this Saturday, they will find themselves 5 points clear, or even 4 points clear depending on how things go, but they could also find themselves 1 point behind Bolton, and that is a problem. Obviously Bolton have a game in hand. For me, I mentioned it in my League One preview video right at the end, I think 3 teams have a hand on this. I don't think anyone has it set in stone of who's in control of this automatic promotion battle, and I think that is the joy of League One. Fingers crossed Derby come out on top, but shall we now take a look at the Leyton Orient manager before taking a look at a familiar face and then the squad of Leyton Orient. So here is Richie Wellens. He took over at Leyton Orient back in March of 2022, and since then he's collected 1.6 points per game on a 47% win rate. He's won 50 games out of 107, drawing 24 and losing 33. As a manager, he's previously spent time at Doncaster Rovers, Salford City, Swindon Town and Oldham Athletic, and he also had a fairly decent playing career with Shrewsbury, Doncaster, Salford, Oldham, playing for a range of different sides. Now, for me, he's an absolutely incredible manager and he's done a really good job with Leyton Orient this season, having got promoted last season. There is still a way in which they finish as the highest finishing promoted side, but shall we see how that's going to happen? It is a potential, but probably not. Now, let's take a look into a familiar face. So here we have Jordan Brown, the 22-year-old central midfielder, holding midfielder at Leyton Orient. Now, Derby will know him well from his time in the academy, playing with the likes of Louis Sibley, Liam Thompson, Cashin, Max Bird, and he was a very, very good player. He just didn't quite make the grade to play at Derby County at the time, given the options that we had in midfield with the likes of Graham Shinney. There was also Dwayne Holmes, Max Bird had broke through, Sibley had broke through. There was a range of different players in that position ahead of him. Even someone at the likes of Isaac Hutchinson, Louis Watson were ahead of Jordan Brown at the time. Jordan Brown has had a good season for Leyton Orient though, making 32 starts, collecting 5 goal contributions on a 6.81 average rating. Although not the best midfielder in the league, he has shown that he is very capable of playing at this level, and he's played 95 games, scoring 5 goals since joining Leyton Orient on a free transfer in January of 2022. We now take a look into the numbers behind this Leyton Orient side. Ruel Sotiriou picked up an injury just 15 minutes into their game in midweek. Will he be available? That is a question on everybody's lips at Leyton Orient, because he will be a massive miss with 16 goal contributions so far this season. They also have players like Shakai Ford, Oliver O'Neill, who scored in midweek. They've also got George Moncur and a range of different players. A player who I thought Derby might have been interested in the summer is Idris El-Mizrouni. I've definitely butchered that, so bear with me. He's been absolutely incredible for them this season, collecting a 7.2 average rating, but they also have the likes of players like Theo Archibald, Joe Pigott and Tom James, who have all performed relatively well given their season. Now obviously Leyton Orient do find themselves out of that playoff battle really. They'd have to win all their games and everyone else to lose for them to get in. So it's going to be difficult for them. But we've seen before, this team has something to fight for. The 2 games we've played against teams with nothing to fight for, we have dropped points. Hopefully Leyton Orient will come out and actually try and put on a performance at Pridpe Park. As we know, that isn't very common, but let's put our fingers together and hope that that is going to happen. Let's now take a look into some team predictions. I've got a couple and I've got a few things that I want to go over within that section, so just bear with me. So you will see on screen now a 3-5-2. Now, this is not necessarily the team that I would go with. However, I feel like Paul Warne is going to want to make some changes. I feel like he's going to want to revert to the formation which gained us so much success just a few weeks ago. And with the returning Sonny Bradley from suspension, that is very possible. I think you can't change Wild, Smith, Nelson or Cashin. They performed excellently in recent games despite the results. Sonny Bradley, despite his moment of madness, could come into that back 3 and provide more attacking impetus to the likes of Wilson and Sibley as wing-backs. But is that a possibility? For me, I do think it is. Everything depends on whether Paul Warne still trusts Sonny Bradley after his outburst at the Northampton game. Now, the midfield 3 is debatable. For me, Adams and Smith could also be Adams and Thompson, could also be Adams and Horahan. Obviously, we heard news post-match at Wycombe that Max Bird is going to be potentially available for this game, but he probably won't be fit enough to start, so he will probably start on the bench. Those 3 up front could easily be interchangeable too. Obviously, Tom Barkhuizen only returned from injury yesterday, 2 days ago, whenever you see this video. I'm recording it on the 11th. So Tom Barkhuizen only returned for the Wycombe game and got 15, 20 minutes-ish. In that game. Will he be available for a full start? I am not entirely sure. But if he isn't, this lineup can change. And Collins can play as a sole striker with Mendez-Laing and Blackett-Taylor either side. Or you could even go Collins and Washington with Mendez-Laing in behind in that Barkhuizen role. Now for me, I think Barkhuizen is the best at that role in this formation, just in behind the striker. He gets involved in the midfield. He also gets involved in the attack. And that will be absolutely pivotal. Now, obviously, we could also put Washington up front. We could put Waghorn up front. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it happens. Now, obviously, I'm hoping that Joe Ward will be back fit because that could change the impetus of this side. Now, could Ward play right wing back instead of Wilson? Obviously, definitely. But will he? That is the question. I thought Wilson did okay against Wycombe, but not his best performance, and he'll be hoping to turn that around, as will Barkhuizen, Mendez-Laing and Collins. But the team I want to go for is this one. And as you can see, there is a bit of change of formation. We still have a very similar setup, but we lose a centre-half. Obviously, Sonny Bradley returning will most likely be on the bench this weekend, but this is the team that I personally, if I was manager, would go for. Goal, Joe Wildsmith. I don't really think you can fault him or his recent performances. And then obviously a back 4 stays the same of Wilson, Nelson, Cashin and Sibley. a midfield three of Adams, Smith and Barkhuizen, with a front three of Blackett, Taylor, Collins and Mendez-Laing. Now, for me, I think Blackett-Taylor has done well recently, but that big chance miss against Wycombe is going to really play on the mind for a lot of people and a lot of fans. And will it impact Paul Warne's decision-making heading into this game? Obviously, you can't be missing chances like that, especially not in a promotion race. Now, Blackett-Taylor has done all right, but he got dragged because there's just times where he looks like he isn't necessarily interested. Now, I think he is interested, but he just doesn't look it. Reminds me a lot of the likes of Tom Lawrence and Tom Ince. They do their body language and the way they'd move on the pitch off the ball would sort of give people the impression that they weren't into the game, they weren't interested. But then as soon as they get the ball, they can be the best player on the pitch. Now, the problem is Blackett-Taylor hasn't quite got that urge yet of give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, like Mendez-Laing does, like Wilson does. Now, hopefully that will come over the next few days before the game. But will it come? That is a question. It might be a little bit too late in the season for that to arrive. Obviously, this midfield can change. Obviously, again, it can be Adams and Smith, Adams and Horahan, Adams and Thompson, even Adams and Bird. Now, I don't think Bird will be ready, as I previously mentioned in the previous team and system. Now, Barkhuizen in that 10, as I mentioned in that previous system, I think he's the best player. There isn't a 10 that plays that position, that can offer both attacking and midfield options. Now, I think he did it really well up until his injury in the Bolton game. I thought he was brilliant in that position. He seemed to be in really, really good form. And then obviously Joe Ward comes into the side. He hits good form. He gets injured. And it just seems to be the common theme with Derby County that whenever a player hits form, Dwight Gale, another one, it just really puts down on the season. Now, we don't want to be looking towards the playoffs, but we could have a very good side for a playoff push. Now, you'll have to let me know your thoughts on these teams down in the comments. While you're down there, hit the subscribe button. But for me, this team, I think this 4-2-3-1 setup that we've got here, it can obviously go into a 4-4-2 as well. Barkhuizen, Blackett, Taylor, Mendez-Laing can all rotate. It can very much move about systems. Obviously, it's a bit more difficult to go to 5 at the back in this system, because obviously you don't have that third centre half. But obviously, with the other one, which I'll put on screen now, with this one, you can obviously move in and out of a 4 and a 5. Because obviously Nelson, Bradley, Cashin and Sibley can drop into a 4. With Nelson at right back, you can obviously also then have Sibley push on, Cashin move over to left back, Bradley, Nelson, Wilson in as a 4, just while we're on the ball and stuff like that. Obviously not permanent as a structure. But for me, both of these lineups offer different ways of setting up and ways of changing. Obviously, you can also have Adams drop or Smith drop as a sitter, and then have a 2 of either Adams or Smith and Barkhuizen, with Barkhuizen as the more advanced of the 2. So it's very much an interchangeable system, this. And you'll have to let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I think it's very difficult to pick a team at the moment because realistically, we've not been playing that well. But despite the poor performances, I still think we are going to go up. I still think we have that opportunity. Lots of people probably don't, and lots of people have probably lost faith. But for me, a win at the weekend puts us right back on track. Do I think Pompey are going to beat Bolton? I think that game's going to be a draw. If we were then to win, that would put us 4 points clear. Now, many people disagree with my opinion that it's a 50-50 for Bolton and Derby, and then Peterborough also in there as well. But that's up to them. I'm happy for people to disagree with me. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Who do you think has control of this automatic promotion race at the moment? It's going to be very, very tense over the next few weeks. With 3 games left to go for Derby, can they pick up 9 points out of 9, or are they going to fall just short of automatic promotion and end up in the playoffs with a potential game at Wembley? You'll have to let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.